Hey guys, Edgar here. We're going to be reacting to some videos about damages and showing you my reaction as a public adjuster. Is he taking a shower underneath the sink? I would say that this is probably a handyman that doesn't have much experience, because if you're going to be dealing with plumbing, the first thing that you should do is maybe shut off the water, right? Yeah, he's having a... Whoa, holy crap. Is this an apartment? Or mitigating right away? So he starts cleaning up, which is very, very important. It's a lot of water. I'm not really sure what happened here. I guess maybe they were doing some sort of maintenance repair, but before doing the repair, they should have shut off the water to prevent something like this from happening, especially if you know that you're going to be working around pressurized water pipes. The homeowner, or the person in the video, not the plumber or the handyman, she started to clean up the water right away, which is really good. But there's something that everybody should keep in mind, and that's that this water has now traveled into the walls underneath the baseboards, especially even with carpet. As much as you try to dry that carpet, it's going to remain at some point, it's going to remain damp in some way. And carpet, it holds so many contaminants, mold spores and skin particles, and all these things are kind of activated by water, right? Mold spores, to be specific. So if that carpet is not sanitized properly and dried out completely, it could pose a potential issue later down the line with mold and with other risks. Yeah, look, all the wood is all wet, the door frame. Sure, that cabinet is Formica, so that has, even though right now you can dry it and it won't look wet or like there's any damage, by tomorrow that cabinet will be swollen for sure, because it's particle board. So particle board touches water, swells up. It needs to be dried out right away, which they're doing, but I don't know how good of a job they're doing. Oh, oh! Again, whoa! Yeah, that guy, like, no. First time, accident. Second time, like, shut off the water to the building or to the unit or to the house. You capped it temporarily, right? Shut it off and then continue to work on it, rather than, you know, taking your chances and going at it again. That's why it's important to get somebody that's licensed plumber, not just anybody off the street that says that they have, you know, plumbing experience.
We're going on to the next video.
Okay. Holy crap, yeah. Roofs being blown off. That's why they ask people to evacuate when you're on the coastline, because it's really unpredictable. The problem here is that a lot of this area had not been hit for a very long time by any major storms. So the construction requirements weren't, you know, up to the current code. So that's why, you know, these big hurricanes that we're experiencing now, this type of construction wasn't prepared for those type of winds. Yeah. They probably, these roofs, the roof structure itself probably wasn't tied down with straps to the concrete. I mean, I don't know if these walls, most of these walls were, it's like a plywood construction. It's so unpredictable. Imagine being there. Look at that. Imagine being there, not be able to escape. You know, you decided to ride it out and you're right by the coast, and then you get caught in something like that. And I don't know if you realized, but a lot of the roofs started to blow off even before the winds really picked up. So that tells you that, you know, but sometimes gusts of winds of, you know, 60, 80 mile per hour winds, or even less, can cause significant damage to a roof. Yeah, that's impressive, man. And you still go up there and you see, not things like this specifically, but, you know, you see the roofs torn off. People are still needing a lot of help, and it has to do a lot with insurance companies not paying in time, and other people. So this area is an elderly community, and a lot of people, they for some reason don't have insurance, and they're having now to suffer the consequences of you know, not being protected. Insurance gives you back the peace of mind of that, yes, even though those things that you love and those assets that you have are now lost, insurance gives you the peace of mind that you're going to get them back. Versus not having insurance and losing it, then you really know that you're not going to be able to recover anything that you lost. So that's why it's important to always not only have insurance, but have the proper coverage and the proper deductibles. And that's why it's important also to call a policy expert, have the policy reviewed, so that, you know, having insurance, there's a misconception amongst homeowners and property owners, and that's it. That's that by having insurance, people assume that they're fully covered for anything and everything. Insurance policies have exclusions, they have endorsements, they have limitations. And those are the things that homeowners should be constantly checking, not only with their agent, but with a policy expert, somebody like us, people that deal with policies day in and day out, and we know the language, and we know how to interpret the language. So when you get advice from us, you get what it says between the lines, you know? Because we read in between the lines, we're giving you the best possible advice.
Well, tonight the Fox 5 I-Team wants to know how a newly renovated Fayette County home could have massive amounts of mold and termite damage hidden behind the new drywall.
Yeah, the new owners paid a home inspector before they closed on the house. But Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis says this sort of damage is nearly impossible to find, huh?
They can barely walk through the front door without doing this.
You got the professional kind, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, look at all that termite damage here. Good grief. And this is wet too, at least it was. So this is a brand new screw that they put into a piece of 2x4 that clearly should have been replaced.
Damn. that is a sucky situation. I mean, I would have to see the whole video to see if we can determine what the cause was. I think that for the purpose of filing a claim, if the damages were pre-existing or the damages were a result of a cause that occurred prior to the buyers buying the house, I don't think that there would be coverage. For termite, there's no coverage. But as far as the mold, I mean, if they bought the house and they were having a leak that at the time after the time they bought the house, and yeah, there should be coverage. Many policies, they have a $10,000 mold cap. So even if you have, you know, $50,000 in mold damages, you would only receive $10,000 toward mold. The good thing is that the mold cap applies only to mold damages and to remediating, but everything else that was damaged by water or by moisture of some sort would fall under coverage A, which is your dwelling coverage. That's whatever the limit of that coverage is. It's a structural coverage. This is really not something on the real estate agent. This is really something, assuming that these damages were pre-existing, and again, pre-existing meaning that they were there prior to the buyer owning the house. It doesn't really fall on the realtor. It falls more on the inspector that inspected the house prior to purchase. That's a real sticky situation because inspectors really, they also don't open walls, you know, to look inside or lift floors. So really, I don't think there's a way they could have known this. Maybe by climbing inside the attic and looking at the trusses, they could have determined that the house had termite. But that's, again, assumes that the termite was in the attic as well, not only within the walls. If it was within the walls, there's no way that anybody could have, you know, figured it out.
As soon as I leave you, I'm gonna go take a shower because the smell gets in your clothes and it doesn't go away.
Their young son is now being treated for a mysterious foot injury. His family believes it was caused by him running barefoot throughout the house. Tests revealed 10 different molds growing inside, including 3 toxic forms.
And the inspector wasn't able to find this mold or termite damage. And the only way he would have been to have been ripping out walls, ripping out cabinets. And inspectors just don't do that.
Exactly.
Attorney Jason.
Yeah. Again, as far as insurance goes, I don't think these people have the option of filing a claim because apparently from what I saw, the documentary or the interview, whatever it was, the damages were due to repeated leaks that occurred prior to the homeowners buying the house. So those are pre-existing damages. It's unfortunate, but insurance wouldn't really help here. However, I think they have a really strong case against the realtor that sold them the house, since the realtor was the one that bought the house and remodeled it and sold it as, good to go. Something I want to point out about hidden damages: many policies do cover hidden damages when the damages are a result of a covered peril. So let's say that you have a leak within the wall that's been leaking for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. You don't know, but you discover it and there's mold there now. Because that leak is a result of a covered peril under the policy, then the mold is covered. So, but insurance companies, typically their reaction when homeowners are not represented and a homeowner files a claim for hidden damages, their reaction would be not covered. So it's important to keep that in mind.
Now we're going to show you a fire one.
Okay. Is that smoke outside the window? Do we know the cause?
They were saying on the comments that were a forest fire, I think. It was coming.
Oh. Yeah. We've handled claims like that on the West Coast. We had one like this. The house didn't completely catch on fire, but the ashes, the wind was blowing the ashes, and the ashes were landing on top of the roof, and it was a shingle roof. So it created several spots, burnt spots on that roof, and we were able to get the homeowner compensated. The fire got real close. It burned his boat, a bunch of stuff, cars that he had in the back, but we were able to get him compensated for the roof itself. And some policies have, for example, they'll cover a trailer up to a certain amount or a boat up to a certain amount. They won't cover, let's say you have a $300,000 boat in the back of your house, you have to have it independently insured. But some policies do have, they extend coverage for trailers up to $1,000 and things of that sort. So we were able to get him $1,000, I think it was per trailer that he had 2, plus coverage for personal property that he had in the back, tools, shed with paints and stuff, and that we were able to get him compensated for. Oh, and about that, so that claim specifically, because the fire got so close to the house, the vent stacks for the plumbing that go through the roof had rubber boots, and those rubber boots melted. During that time, not only did it rain, but there were also helicopters coming by and just dumping water. So water got into the house as a result of the rubber boot crack. And the insurance company didn't want to pay for the cracking of the rubber boots. They were claiming it was wear and tear and pre-existing. But ultimately we were able to prove that it was a result of the heat that deteriorated the rubber boot and allowed the water to get in whenever the helicopters were dumping the water. So that was an interesting one. I'm assuming they have like a ring inside the house or some sort of camera. So let's assume for a second that this is only outside and it doesn't really get into the inside, which I think it will here. Even if it was only smoke that goes in through the vents of the soffit, the smoke is drawn into the attic and all that smell and all that soot is trapped in there. So that is a claim. Even if the entire house isn't burned down, if you have a fire adjacent to your home that creates a lot of smoke, we can file a claim for the soot and the smoke that gets into the attic and potentially inside your home. Damn. No. That sucks. So I see the smoke coming in. Let's assume it was turned off right there. The fire didn't make it inside, but the smoke did. That is also a claim that needs to be addressed. Smoke carries soot, and that is going to be drawn by the AC and dispersed throughout the entire house. And that's going to fall on your clothes, that's going to fall on your furniture, it's going to stick to your walls. So that needs to be cleaned out. A lot of the clothes, a lot of the furniture, you can't clean. It needs to be replaced. So you're talking about a significant claim, even in a case where, not where you have a wildfire next to your house, but when you have let's say, una olla de presión, a pressure cooker, and it explodes in your house, that smoke that it creates, that smell, it's more of a problem than most people would think. They would think, I'll just clean it up, let it go. But no, you have to address the smoke that was dispersed through the house. Yeah, this house is going bye-bye. Hopefully there was nobody there, right? Poor fish. Smoke detectors. That has to be scary to watch that, huh? So the most basic insurance policies cover fire damage. You just have to make sure, because sometimes the most basic insurance policies don't have coverage, only have structural coverage, not coverage for your personal belongings. And like we said, the smoke, even if the fire doesn't consume the entire house, the smoke will land on those personal belongings. TVs, sofas, you know, everything needs to be cleaned. Plates, the walls need to be cleaned. Assuming that that the smoke, that the house doesn't catch on fire, that it's just a fire that created some smoke into the house.
All right, so Christmas time. It's for all the people that buy real trees.
Real trees? I'd buy a real tree. Holy crap! That's a very lit up tree and quick. Wow. Wow. Holy crap. That is intense. Yep. I buy house. I buy roof. I buy everything. If hell existed, this is what I would picture it being like. A dry tree can catch fire and burn. Yeah, I agree. I mean, based on this. Water daily. Oh, but it's still burning. This tree was recut right before being placed into water. I mean, it looked like it was really lighting up there. So this is very common. It happens a lot more frequent than we hear about. But you would be covered in an instance like that. It's accidental. You didn't. There was nothing you could have done to prevent it. There was no negligence on anybody's part. So I would say, yeah, that's just something that would be covered. It would be a really sucky Christmas. But having insurance, you know that, you know, eventually you're going to get everything back the way it was. So, you know, that's at least a peace of mind that you could have versus not having insurance and then, you know, just figuring out what to do from that point forward. Thank you for watching. This concludes our reactions video. We're going to be doing a lot more of these, specifically to show homeowners and property owners in general damages that they wouldn't normally claim. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us at Monarch Claims, and we'll see you on the next one.